There's also an expression used in the newspapers in every city. The expression mop hair. Mop top. And this is so trite to me. Does it ever get to you, when you see this? It's been around for so long.
We just break up whenever we see it, along with when they use the heading, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which has only been in one of your songs.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't mind. It got into a sort of international password, yeah, yeah, but it's been flogged to death along with mop-topped and mop-haired foursome.
They loved America.
It seems to be more happening over here, more things that I like lots of TV, radios, drive-ins and all that sort of stuff.
What are your observations about the country of America, the land? You've seen just about every major part of the country now on this tour. How do you feel about it? Not necessarily do you like it or you don't like it. What do you think about it? Has it amazed you in any way?
Yeah, well, I mean, we knew America was big, but traveling sort of in the plane, these ridiculous distances we've been doing, well, it is, it's just fantastically big. We always liked the place anyway, because we've always bought American records and things, so we've always liked the country. And we were never too keen on American people until we got here, because from things you've seen in films and things I'd heard on radio, and one or two people I'd met, tourists, I mean, tourists are bad anyway, British tourists are terrible anyway, but those are the kind of people we've met. And so I wasn't very impressed with American people until we got over here. And, I think they're great now.
They try to stand up for young people of all generations.
What do you think of the criticism based upon our society, our young society, let's say?
The criticism such as what?
Well, I mean, like, I'm about your age and everything, and there's always this business, these kids are bad.
Oh, well, that's gone on for years, because, people are saying, we never did that, and we never had the chances you had, but I was talking to my mother one day, and she said, well, her mother used to say that to her, and she's got over it now. I mean, even she used to say it to me, like, if I had the chances you had and all that, when I was young, but I think that's gone on all the way through life, as far as anyone can remember. The parents have always said, I didn't have that like you have, or, so I just forget that. I just hope I don't end up like that when I'm old with a few kids saying, oh, I didn't have it as easy as you and all that,
They never anticipated breaking up and detested reports that they didn't get along.
You ever have any, this is another controversial question, any internal problems within the Beatles, let's say, the four guys? You're bound to have differences. But any serious internal problems ever upset you?
We get plenty.
It's a tough question to ask.
It isn't tough because, we can answer it because we have plenty of arguments. But we're also sort of attuned to each other, and we know each other so well through the years that an argument never reaches a climax, or it never reaches the point where somebody goes up and says, I'm talking,
In other words, it's forgotten.
It's not forgotten. But we know each other so well. It's like sort of mind reading. If an argument's building up between Ringo and I, say, there comes to a point where we know what's going to come next, and it's all, everybody packs in, or something, okay, he wins. So we have ordinary arguments like other people, but there's no sort of conflict. All the people that have conflict in show business either get married about 19 times, they leave the group they're in and go solo, nothing ever happens.
Don't they? So I think that's why they leave, in America you get sort of, there's a group and there's always one singer, and then he sort of gets sort of big-headed and leaves, but I personally would hate to leave the other three, if it did happen, say I left and went on stage, I just wouldn't know what to do, on my own I'd be looking around, and the thing about that, when I was in hospital and the boys went to Sweden and then to Australia. I followed them out to Australia, and there was sort of people, at the airports, not like I used to get off the plane, but I was on my own. And I don't know, just automatically looked around for the other boys, you just, I don't know, I couldn't stand it on my own.
One gets reliant, Ringo, that's the thing.
Pardon?
One gets reliant on the other.
Yes.
And one thing I learned, with John Lennon, avoid the B word, as in breakup.
Everybody says you're going to break up. This is another rumor. It's all over.
It's rubbish, it's just rubbish, and we never even thought of it.
And George didn't want to hear the L word, as in leaving.
There's a lot of fan magazines around the country who are always having these rumors and everything. Does it ever bug you?
It drives up the wall sometimes, because
Well, since we've been over here, they've been asking, is John leaving? And now the new one today, it's me, I'm leaving today. That's just because some idiot in Hollywood has written in the paper saying that I'm leaving. So now I'll have for weeks people coming up to me saying, is it true you're leaving?
The tours were not without controversy. In Hollywood at the Whiskey A Go-Go nightclub, I was there when the Beatles, crowded into a small nightclub, were confronted by a pesky photographer who got closer and closer. Suddenly, a glass smashed. George Harrison uncharacteristically threw his drink at the photographer. John Lennon had some fun with what George did later.
But somehow it didn't work. Due to George's astute business association of the photographer, he stood up with a mighty blow and swept him from the room.
For Ringo Starr, sometimes the public attention caused scenes that he regretted, and he really made sense with these comments to me.
I think you'll agree with me that a lot of people, in approaching you and, of course, wanting to see you or get your autograph, at times do not use proper manners. I don't mean proper manners toward the Beatles, but proper manners toward you as a human being.
A lot of people don't. We go in restaurants sometimes, and you can have your fork full of food halfway to your mouth and someone will just smash it on the hand and say, sign this, without a please, thank you, or anything. And this annoys you, naturally. I mean, you don't want anyone just to, I don't want anyone to think of me as a piece of furniture. I'm not a piece of furniture, I'm a human being. I have feelings the same as anyone else, we all do.
In February 1965, I visited the Beatles in Nassau, the Bahamas, where they were filming the movie Help. The international press was tough on the boys, accusing them of being rude to tourists hoping to get close. They were clear to me about exactly what happened.
Tell me, Paul, we discussed this before about Nassau. Describe exactly what happened there. Were those reports true or false? I know you talked to us on the phone about it.
Are we still putting down rumours?
Oh, yeah.
Still doing that? We seem to do that all the time last time. I don't know, We were doing a film and we were trying to learn the script. And a couple of pressmen kept taking pictures and things, so we asked them if they'd sort of go away just while we were learning it, because we hadn't really learnt it well enough anyway. We asked them to go away, and they did, I think. But I think a couple of them got a bit ratty and started writing things about us being rude to everyone. I don't think it was true, But what can we do about it?
Well, the thing is, this was in an English newspaper that we sort of insulted everybody. The thing is, in Nassau there was a lot of tourists. They're having a good time on a holiday, and they didn't seem to realise that we were working, And in the middle of a shot sometime, someone would just leap across with a piece of paper saying, sign this. And we don't mind signing things, as a rule, unless we're getting very tired of that. But if it ruins a shot and we have to start all over again, then I think it's a bit much. So I think maybe we were partly to blame and maybe the people were partly to blame, the tourists. But the article came about where the guy who wrote the article said, what have you got to tell me? No, he said, how about an interview? That's right. He said, how about an interview? And not me, but one of us said, okay. And then suddenly just said, well, what have you got to tell me? Or what have you got to ask me? Or something stupid like that. Well, what can you say? We just ignored him. If someone says, how about an interview, and you say, okay, and then he says, okay, well, ask me something, as if we were going to interview him, So, and all this article came about. It was a lot of rubbish, because if we were insulting, I'd tell you.